the human brain. It serves as a complex roadmap of the world we experience. It gives directions to our thoughts and perceptions so we arrive at our destination safely and efficiently. But people with neurological brain disorders like schizophrenia or manic depression have been given a map with roads that don't meet where they should, bridges that are missing, and routes that lead to nowhere. If you met a fellow traveler misguided by his map, would you judge him and leave him stranded, or would you get out your map and help him find his way?
Ready, go, Joe! What? You mean you don't know my boy Joe's Joe's on it. Erasing stigma.
Hi there, I'm Joe Tyler. Are you stressed out, wigged out, freaked out, feeling anxious, angry, or depressed? Well, we got a show for you today. I'm going to start here with the people in history who have enriched our lives, who just happen to have brain disorders. And some of them have recovered, some of them are just so some of them actually committed suicide. Kurt Cobain committed suicide. Where's Kurt Cobain? But I think Virginia Woolf did too. There's quite a few that lost their lives at their own hands. But nevertheless, they were very famous people. Mark, do you have anybody that
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Bipolar.
Never told a lie.
No.
Oh, that wasn't him, was it?
I don't know. But anyway, I think of him because of the trip we went to down in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened there? Go ahead and tell us.
We had a leadership convention for NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, and it was a great experience because we got a chance to meet Senator Reid, and we got to see the Senate in action.
And we're going to go to that in just a little bit because I got questions about that for you.
Right.
So let's. Is there anybody else on here? Jane Pauley was pretty cool. We saw her at the National NAMI convention last year. Spoke in person.
Yeah, she did.
In person.
Yeah.
And and Mike Wallace presented the award to the nationally acclaimed psychiatrist. Candell, I think was his name. Garrett Candell, I think. And Terry Bradshaw got to present the award to Judy Rappaport, this year's winner for the national. So all kinds of really cool people.
Real cool.
Really cool people. Buzz Aldrin, he's an astronaut, landed on the moon. First man to put a foot on the moon.
Yeah.
Pretty cool guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Vincent van Gogh hangs in my office. Well, not an original, but okay. So we get that to stand up there. Now, today's show, it features my close friend, a real great individual, guy I've known for how far do we go back, Mark?
5 years.
5 years, I think. Yeah. And probably one of those lifelong kinds of things. Which is really cool thing, and Mark and we're going to talk today about Mark's opportunity to get a new job, about his a little bit about his recovery, and about his trip to Washington D.C. We both went to Washington D.C. just last week. Got to talk to Senator Reid. We're going to talk about. Let's see, all kinds of stuff. I think he's going to give us some sleep tips tonight. Sleep tips from Mark Better Rochelle. So we'll get to do all kinds of stuff. All right. Let's see. Let's start in with a question. Now, who have you produced? You've produced a lot of shows on this show.
Right.
You've helped produce behind the cameras.
Right.
And we hope maybe the camera people can get a shot of each other so we can kind of get a background of if we can get to that. But you helped produce a lot of shows.
Yeah, you.
With me. And can you think of any magic moments on Erasing the Stigma that really helped to kind of feel like you were producing something that was really really worthwhile?
I think it was Governor Kenny Glenn.
Kenny Glenn?
Yeah, I think that was kind of interesting, and I really admired the man for what he was doing for Nevada, and I really enjoyed being the cameraman, watching him in person doing an interview here. I thought that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you worked on sound?
Oh, actually, I was working on sound then, and then it was Governor Gibbons. I was working on as a cameraman then. Yeah.
And then Montel Williams.
Yeah, we went to Las Vegas.
We went to Las Vegas to shoot Montel Williams.
That was that was a good time seeing him in action. He looks the same on TV as he does in person. It's really amazing.
He really looks the same. He does. I mean, there's Montel, the guy, the man. You know, sly as he be, going through the bushes to kind of slipped into the back, and they made it appear like when we did the show, they made it appear that he'd left the area, and then really he because there were so many fans around, they made it seem like he'd left, and then he came back and interviewed with us.
Yeah, I think that was great. That was kind of exciting how he did that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. As a person with schizoaffective, or you can say bipolar, I say schizoaffective because I think that you had enough delusional stuff to be that. But and a person with a sleeping disorder, what are some of your sleep tips? And I promise we get to this. Some of your sleep tips about how to get a good night's sleep.
Wow.
I mean, how do you really fend off the lack of sleep?
Well, first of all, if you have a sleeping problem, you should go to your doctor and ask for a little bit of medication for that. So that's one of the first things I did. But that doesn't necessarily help, 24 hours of a day. It's I use meditation. Sometimes I use the radio on real low. And
I mean, you find that just a real low sound?
Yeah,
keeps
even the TV,
I've heard
which you're not supposed to do this, but sometimes falling asleep watching TV in my chair helps me a lot because I mean, I'm laying in bed awake, so I might as well just be up watching the news or doing something like that, and then let my meds work, and then slowly fall asleep, and then go to bed. And that helps me sleep a lot better at night, where I can get the good quality sleep when I'm able to do that. But it's really important for you to go and talk to your doctor and discuss it with him, because if you have a mental illness, sleeping disorder is really a trigger, and it can set off other problems that you prefer to stay away from.
Yeah, because we know that even people, when I studied about abnormal psychology in school, Mark, abnormal psychology is the study of psychosis and different things that people go through. Even a normal person without a propensity to have a brain disorder can hallucinate and have some crazy stuff happen when they don't sleep. So
one of the best things I do is meditate. Sometimes I need the total silence, and just gives me a chance to let the meds work, and then eventually I can get a deep sleep, and unfortunately I don't sometimes get 8 hours sleep. Maybe I only get 6 hours or 5 hours, but as I do this every night, my sleeping disorder becomes less and less, and eventually I get 8 and maybe even 9 hours sleep.
Yeah, because it goes in cycles. I know other people in our support group that have trouble sleeping too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's now we do a thing called In Our Own Voice, which we've both done. We went for a cool trip to. I'm trying to taking you back here about 6 months, I guess.
Yeah.
We went for a cool trip to South Lake Tahoe and did it up there for the Community Mental Health Center up there. And it was a great experience.
It was.
But digging in and talking about some of the stuff for the folks at home, Talk about some of the stuff for those dark days, those terrible, when you may have heard voices, a little bit, or had some crazy stuff going on.
Oh yeah, I used to think that I was God or a general. I was really psychotic, and I had no idea what reality was. In fact, I ended up in jail for 4 months for just loitering, and here in Nevada they call it trespassing. So I had no place to go, and I'd hang out at the bus depots, fall asleep, and hoping somebody would give me a ride somewhere. And actually, one time I slept in someone's car, got thrown in jail. And in 1 month, I got thrown in jail at least 3 times. So I'm pretty familiar about being homeless, and it was right about October. And it was just starting to get cold, and I remember that I was having a hard time staying warm. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank God. I mean, I'm going to hold up the old noggin here. Thank God our brains recover, because while I'm still on meds, and you're still on, which ones are you on?
Geogon I'm taking.
Geogon,
and then I take something for my depression and anxiety. Yes.
Anxiety too.
Yeah.
So. And I'm on a mood stabilizer, well, kind of a mood stabilizer, and an antipsychotic for my psychosis, and an antidepressant too. But thank God our brains have recovered good enough so we don't have to put up with some of as much of that bad stuff.
Oh yes, yeah. In fact, it's I'm really fortunate because my meds have changed the quality of life, and it's helped me get where I am today. So I'm really fortunate that I have the right combination of meds, and that changed me from being about 10 years isolated from society back into the community again, and able to function and participate in a lot of volunteer work.
Well, with that, you're leading me into this, because I think I'd like to do this speech that I gave, and this kind of takes us away from the show a little bit, but this is a speech that I gave before the Senate Finance and Assembly Ways and Means, who one of the people, the chairwoman, the Madam Chairwoman, chairperson of the committee is your, kind of like your boss is your mentor, your boss's boss kind of thing. So with that, I said, and this was just this week, I'm NAMI of Nevada President Joe Tyler. In our cities, the road to mental health care is already long, and besides, traffic is backed up.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. They all laughed at that. Our infrastructures, you like that word, infrastructures are eroding in our county jails, and the county jails will wind up paying and paying and paying.
And I know that from experience.
And you know that from experience, because they paid for you.
Yeah, revolving door, always in and out of jail.
It already costs us our productivity, and if we can't get help, it'll cost us our lives, and it would. Peoples from every walk of life can and do have mental illnesses, not just the poor street people. Not just the poor street people. We're all a little depressed these days, especially with the economy and stuff. I've been trying to lift my life out of the shadows of fear, of anger and depression, as I said at the beginning of the show. Hell, call it what it is. Paranoia, after all, is just a deep-seated fear that the mob haven't given up looking for you. And I worry there won't be a place for people like me who needed help, like you said, for almost 10 years of our lives after the onset of our schizophrenia. There's no place like a hospital to go. There's no place like a hospital to go. You say there's a decline in dollars. This is what I was telling them. You say there's a decline in dollars coming in. Well, I've just returned from the working, and we'll talk about this, the working man's dream, Washington, D.C., which I think it is. And you've heard we've heard the president speak and talked, and we in NAMI met with our elected official, who just happens to be the most powerful man the second most powerful man. It's the most powerful man in the Senate.